Hey guys, Cameron with CBM Reviews here, and I'm here for the newest comic book movie review for you. This is the review of Wonder Woman 84. Wonder Woman 84 was directed by Patty Jenkins, and it stars Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman again, as well as Chris Pine with newcomers Pedro Pascal and Kristen Wiig. I'm going to give you the story as far as, without spoiling too much of it. I'm going to give you the things that I enjoyed, the things that I didn't enjoy so much, and then my overall grade so you don't want to miss it. We're about to dive in, but I want to thank you so much for clicking on this video. It means a whole lot to me. If you could click that like button, it raises the visibility of this video. Also, if you're a fan of comic book movie reviews, maybe TV reviews, click that subscribe button. And last but certainly not least, if you want to know as soon as I upload anything, hit that notification bell. You'll know as soon as I put out a video. Wonder Woman 84 is a sequel to the first Wonder Woman movie that came out back in 2017. Everybody that was a main cast in the first one comes back for this one as far as, the timeline allows. And then there is a flashback to Themyscira at the very beginning of this movie, so a lot of those earlier characters return in this. This is telling of Wonder Woman and how she is living her life in the mid-80s. She is still under the radar. She doesn't want everybody to know who she is or her purpose on man's earth, but she's doing the best that she can. And then we get introduced to a couple of new characters, one of them being Maxwell Lord, who is this kind of like slimeball, skeezy, 80s get-rich-quick scheme guy, like Ponzi scheme, top of the pyramid guy. But the pyramid is pretty flimsy. He gets his hands on an artifact and then things turn upside down, and it's up to Wonder Woman and Steve to figure out where he is, what's going on, and how they can stop him. That's the story in a nutshell, and I definitely left out a lot of important details because I don't want to spoil those for you. I want you to be able to enjoy them for yourself. First off, let's go to the things that I did enjoy. The first and main thing that I enjoyed was how Gal portrayed Wonder Woman. There is almost no flaws to her performance as Diana Prince. Every time that she's on the screen, what she's meant to portray, she does it flawlessly. I enjoyed every single time that she is on the screen, and she's mainly the person that's the focal point. Steve Trevor has returned, who is played by Chris Pine. Now, whereas I enjoyed him on screen, The Avenue, not so much, and I'm not going to get into it because it will be a spoiler, but I will say that whereas I enjoyed his time on the screen, I enjoyed the chemistry that he and Wonder Woman have. It was a vehicle. It was something to move the plot along, and it wasn't my favorite thing. I was glad to see him though. Next is Kristen Wiig, who plays Barbara Minerva, who is later revealed to be another villain. And most of the advertisements haven't really shown who this villain is. However, when she finally gets to her final form, so to speak, I loved it. I wish that there was more of that character in the movie as a whole. We don't get nearly enough. We do get quite a bit of Barbara Minerva as a person, and that was fine. I think that Kristen Wiig did a good job of portraying this character in the progression that she makes throughout the movie. But I definitely enjoyed the very end. That's just something that I wish I had more of. And then there's Maxwell Lord, who is kind of the main villain in this movie. In the same way that Steve Trevor is kind of like an avenue or a vehicle to advance the plot, Maxwell Lord is kind of like the same. We really don't see the true villain personified in this movie, and that's a huge problem. Not necessarily because it cheapens the story, but they make allusions to a certain god, and we never see this god on screen at all, and it almost feels like everybody is somewhat being used in this movie, and I almost want to say that it cheapens the tension and cheapens the stakes, because it really doesn't. They try to make these stakes as high as they can for this movie, which is all well and good, but Maxwell seems like he's a slimy guy, he's a skeezy guy, but overall he has a good enough heart. You know, it's a half measure, it feels like. One of the things, though, that was absolutely gorgeous in the entire movie was the score. Hans Zimmer returns to do the music for this movie, and it is paired perfectly with every single scene that is on the screen. It never takes you out of the scene, it never takes you out of the movie, it just enhances the experience. It's something that he has done for decades. He's great at it. I just want to make mention of it because he does not disappoint. One other thing that I did enjoy were the fight scenes. The fight scenes were done very well. I almost wish that there were more, but in all honesty, they had quite a few and I enjoyed them. The movie's 2 hours and 30 minutes. At times it feels like it's 2 hours and 30 minutes, and then at times it feels like it's not long enough, mostly within the last act. There were a few things that I didn't like about this movie. One of the main ones, and it's a fan service scene. And I can't give it away because it is definitely a spoiler, but it's something that pays homage to a Wonder Woman relic of old, but it really doesn't add anything to the story outside of that scene. I felt it was cheap. And I hate to say that, but it did. And that was one of the scenes that really hurt the movie. Another thing that I didn't particularly like about it was that there is an ability that Diana kind of learns within this movie, and it has to do with flight. That's been kind of a tricky subject with Wonder Woman throughout the ages. And here's the thing, I don't have a problem with Wonder Woman flying, but the way that they kind of address it in this movie causes you to have to highly suspend some disbeliefs, and some of those I can do, some of those I can't. One of the ones that I can is how she uses the lasso of truth in this movie. They get very creative with the things that she can do with the lasso of truth, most of which I have no problem with. If I can believe that a man on steroids can throw a metal disc and it returns to him pretty much every time, I can believe a lot of the things that the lasso of truth does in this movie. I can even get down with her riding the lightning, as we saw in the very first trailer. That's fine. But with the aspect of flight as they address it here, it's difficult. It's a stretch to me. Looks great, but I had a hard time with it. Another thing I didn't like, and this has to do with the ending, so I can't get too specific, but the way that our heroes prevail seems incredibly reached and somewhat cheesy. I dislike that so much because there are so many other aspects of this that aren't as cheesy as this. There are elements that the warriors, the Amazons of Themyscira, ascribe to, that there's nothing cheap. There's nothing cheesy about it. It's very authentic, and they go for that at the end, but the manner in which it's attained, I just really don't care for. And then at the very end, there's a history with Wonder Woman and Maxwell Lord. They don't go that route. And even though they don't, it's a more happier ending. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, we have Superman to thank for not giving us that satisfaction. However, this movie is quite a bit of fun. Overall, I enjoyed myself watching this. The grade that I'm going to give it is an 81. The story is where I get most of the hang up. The story really borrows from a 1902 story by W.W. Jacobs. Look it up, you'll see what I'm talking about, and you'll understand why it borrows so much. And everybody does a great job acting. Nobody puts in a half measure performance, although I feel like at the end, the story gave us a half-measured ending. It didn't go that full measure that I was expecting, even though the stakes were full measure. The way that it ended felt like fluffy. The action sequences are superb. I loved every single action piece. I wish that there were just a few more, but that's just, me personally. The score is absolutely wonderful, and it was directed and blended very well. I just didn't love this movie as much as I enjoyed the Wonder Woman from 2017. In order to watch this, you can do a couple of things. You can catch it in movie theaters, which it's going to be available for a while, or you can get it on HBO Max, which is what I did. You can get a month subscription for only $14.99, and that's pretty much the price of a movie ticket anywhere you go. So if you want to watch this movie, I implore you to do it on HBO Max. It is safer. You can watch it in the privacy of your own home, and hopefully you get a whole lot quieter experience than you would in a theater with a whole bunch of other people. So that's my review of Wonder Woman 84. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends, and as always, this is Cameron with CBM Reviews. We'll see you next time.